Hey guys, I thought since I put out my NBA mock draft, it would be fun to look at some other people's NBA mock drafts. So today I have three 2020 mock drafts from Forbes, Bleacher Report, and NBADraft.net. And we're going to be going through each one of them, comparing them to my draft, and I'm going to give you my feedback and analysis on what they did versus what I did. So the first draft we're going to look at is the Forbes.com draft. This is updated the 10th of March, so just about a week ago. So let's go over what we have here. First of all, they do have James Wiseman going first to the Warriors, which I had. And then immediately the changes start with Denny Avdija going to the Cavaliers, where I had Anthony Edwards going to the Cavaliers at number 2. It's saying here that he really is just going to be a sharpshooting wing for the Cavaliers, but I don't see Denny Avdija, being a viable wing in the NBA. I think if anything, he'll have to play guard since he doesn't really look that physically imposing and his defense is lacking, to say the least. But I think the Cavaliers just need to go for overall talent. I don't think that Denny has top 2 or top 3 talent. But I understand the Cavaliers picking Denny. They need shooting desperately. So we'll have to see. I'm not exactly sure I agree with this pick, but it's definitely going to impact the next couple of picks that we're going to have to look at. And moving right along to the Minnesota Timberwolves, where I have Lamellar Ball going to the Timberwolves, and instead Forbes has Anthony Edwards going to Minnesota. Same sort of thing here. They pair Edwards with D'Angelo Russell, which is a pretty good pairing to say the least. I just think that Edwards will not escape the top 2. I think that Wiseman and Anthony Edwards will no doubt be the top 2, just because the Warriors don't need a guard at this point. They have Steph and Clay, so they won't go for Edwards. They won't go for LaMelo. So that would push LaMelo Ball back to number 3. But Anthony Edwards would be a really good pairing with D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns. He provides some defense that they desperately need. He's a really good athletic slasher, which would pair well with D'Angelo Russell's shooting. I agree. I like the pick. Minnesota taking Anthony Edwards at number 3. Number 4, LaMelo Ball. This is a bit of a question mark to me. I mean, at this point, you take LaMelo. He's the biggest talent there. But it would be interesting to see how the dynamics with the ball work between LaMelo and Trae Young. LaMelo always has the ball in his hands when he was with the Illawarra Hawks. So in this situation, I guess he would become more of a pure shooter, a pure playmaker. The ball would be in his hands a lot less, but I feel he would get a lot more spot-up opportunities. He'd get a lot of plays run for him off of pin downs and things like that. But it would be very fun, to say the least, to watch LaMelo Ball and Trae Young. I mean, that would be easily one of the best shooting backcourts in the NBA from day one. So I don't exactly agree where LaMelo is, but I do agree with the pick for that selection. Next is Killian Hayes, the Detroit Pistons selecting Killian Hayes. I do not understand this pick. He's a good point guard. He's a good playmaker. He's not very athletic or the best athlete. He's a good defender. He's tall. He's a good playmaker, and that would fit well with Devin Booker. But I feel like Tyrese Halliburton at number 5 is so much better value-wise for this pick. In Tyrese Halliburton, you're getting a shooter. He shot over 40% from 3. You're getting a great playmaker and really, to me, a better defender. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton is long. He's about 6'6", probably a wingspan at least 6'8". And the fact that he's leading a college team like Iowa State who's done well and really dominating that offense, I feel like Tyrese Halliburton is a much better selection right here. And we're going to see that later on where they actually end up putting Tyrese Halliburton. Number 6, Cole Anthony going to the New York Knicks. I had this exact same thing. They need a point guard. They need someone who can handle the spotlight. Cole Anthony fits all of those boxes. He's a primetime player. The Knicks need shooting. They need playmaking. They need a guard that they can run the offense around. And no, Keena's not that. Peyton is not that. And Dennis Smith Jr. is not that. And Cole Anthony, coming off of an injury, can really provide some great playmaking and leadership for that Knicks team. Number 7, I also had Obi Toppin going to Chicago. They just need a glue guy. They need someone who can do it all, and Obi Toppin is the guy that can do it all in this draft. He shoots incredibly well from the field. He's a fantastic defender. He's a great rebounder, extremely athletic. Love this pick for the Bulls. We also agree on number 8, Onyeka Okongwu going to the Hornets. They don't have a center. Onyeka Okongwu fills that void perfectly. He's athletic. He's got great footwork. I really agree with that pick. And same thing with number 9, Isaac Okoro going to the Wizards. They just need a big talent at this point. Isaac Okoro fills a lot of gaps for the Wizards, a wing defender. After Otto Porter left, he could shoot the ball a little bit. Him, John Wall, and Bradley Beal could form a pretty good trio. And this is where I get a little bit disturbed by this draft, as they dropped Tyrese Halliburton all the way down to number 10. And I honestly think that's blasphemous. He's one of the best guards in the country. I mean, he's shooting 50% from the floor, 40% from 3, and over 80% from the free throw line. And he's averaging 6 rebounds and 7 assists. I mean, I really do not understand why Tyrese Halliburton dropped so many picks. I think he's going to be a top 7 player. I think the Bulls or the Hornets would be the last teams that would pick him, since the rest have guards. So I really do not understand that. So the Forbes list overall had a lot of similar picks, but then the whole thing with Killian Hayes and Tyrese Halliburton I disagreed with. So I'll give this like a B minus. Next, moving on to the Bleacher Report draft. This one is extremely different from mine. Starting off with the first overall pick, they have Anthony Edwards going to the Warriors. I do not understand this whatsoever. Looking at the Warriors front line, you have Steph coming back, Clay coming back, and Andrew Wiggins. I mean, if you want to bring Anthony Edwards along in that sort of guard play, then it could work, but the Warriors need inside presence. If Steph and Clay come back to anywhere near full strength, having a player like James Wiseman in there will make such a big difference on both ends of the floor for them. Wiseman can run. He's a great defender. I don't really understand that pick at all, to be honest with you. The Cleveland Cavaliers, yet again, picking Denny Avdija. Same thing as last time. I guess they're looking for shooting here, but I don't see how you can pass up on LaMelo in favor of Denny Avdija. I understand the potential that is there, and now that Luka is in the league, everybody's going after the next Luka Doncic, but I don't agree with that pick personally. Next, the Timberwolves, as well as my draft in this draft, are taking LaMelo Ball. Pairing him with D'Angelo Russell would be fantastic. Extremely fun is going to be an understatement to describe the Timberwolves if they pick LaMelo Ball. Next, things really start to shake up from here. The number 4 pick, Cole Anthony. Now, I have Denny Avdija sliding back to number 4 here for the Atlanta Hawks. This pick doesn't make logical sense. You have Kevin Huerter, you have Trae Young. Cole Anthony does like half the effectiveness of what those two players do. So are you going to have him as a shooting guard when he's only like 6'2", 6'3"? Are you going to have him coming off the bench even though you're using a 4th overall pick on him? I do not understand that at all. Number 5, the Detroit Pistons. I had them taking Tyrese Halliburton. They have James Wiseman sliding to number 5. I don't think James Wiseman's going to get out of the top 4, just with Golden State and Cleveland up there. James Wiseman for the Pistons would be a great fit, playing along Blake Griffin, sort of replacing Andre Drummond. But I don't think he's going to land anywhere near there. Number 6, a guy we have not seen from as of yet, RJ Hampton from the New Zealand Breakers going to the Knicks. They have Alonzo Trier, and this is where the positions that they have listed may not exactly play out as they see. RJ Hampton, if he were to go to the Knicks, would probably play point guard. They probably run him along with Trier or whatever other guards they want to run. I still think they need a point guard, which is why I gave them Cole Anthony, but either way, I don't know if RJ Hampton had a good enough season to launch him into the top 10. Number 7, the Chicago Bulls in this draft select Tyrese Halliburton, who I had 5th going to the Pistons. I'm a little bit confused based off of the fit here. They have Kobe White, they have Zach LaVine, they have Chris Dunn. I don't know if you're planning on trading one of them, or if you're planning on shipping Chris Dunn and Zach LaVine, or Kobe White, or what you're really doing there. They need a forward. They need a small forward specifically that's not injured like Otto Porter. I think Obi Toppin fits that pretty well, so I'm not really sure about that pick. At number 8, the Charlotte Hornets select Killian Hayes. Again, you just signed Terry Rozier to an extension. You have Devontae Graham. You need someone to shore up your front line, and that is Onyeka Okongwu. He's a great center, can play small ball center, great defender, great shot blocker. You don't need a guard if you're Charlotte. That's not what you're looking for. If you're looking for overall talent and you think Killian Hayes is worth that at the number 8 pick, go right ahead. But I'm definitely taking Onyeka Okongwu if I'm in Charlotte's position. Number 9, they pick with the Wizards Onyeka Okongwu. I had Isaac Acorah here. This is sort of a toss-up. You can go with either one if they're both available. I think the Wizards are going to look for that forward. They really don't have a forward right now. They have Bradley Beal, who's doing great. Onyeka Okongwu could fill in a gap, so I like the pick, but I think Onyeka Okongwu will be much more suited on the Charlotte Hornets. And number 10, Isaac Okoro to the Phoenix Suns. They have Kelly Oubre, so I guess they would slide Oubre or Okoro into the power forward position. You have Ricky Rubio, but you want to find a long-term solution at point guard, so not exactly sure about that pick. And then this is where I just want to bring up, they have Obi Toppin falling out of the top 10, and I think there is zero chance that Obi Toppin escapes the top 10, let alone going to 11. If the Spurs are able to select Obi Toppin, that would be the biggest steal of the draft, no question. Tim Duncan and Greg Popovich working with a player like Obi Toppin, that would be absolutely unbelievable. So a lot of differences between this draft and my draft, just because I do not agree with RJ Hampton. I do not agree with Obi Toppin going outside the top 10. I'm going to give this about a C, C+. And finally, that will move us on to our final mock draft, the consensus 2020 NBA draft according to NBADraft.net. This is according to 151 of the best users, the most respected writers for NBADraft.net, and they have assembled something as of today, 3/17/2020, just a little bit ago. And the amount of differences in this draft is showing me how this is why you really want to pay attention to what these people say, because it's unbelievable where they put some of these players. Starting off, let's go with number 1, Anthony Edwards. We've already gone over him going to the Warriors. Cleveland taking James Wiseman. Again, a solid pick. I don't have any qualms with that. Lamellar Ball going 3rd to Atlanta. Again, we talked about that. I don't know how they would work, but I guess Lamellar would most likely move to the shooting guard position. Cole Anthony going number 4 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I guess D'Angelo Russell moves into a shooting guard position there. And then here is where things get a little freaky. Number 5, the New York Knicks. I had Tyrese Halliburton going to the Knicks. They take Denny Avdija with the 5th pick. If he's around at the 5th pick, which I think he will be, because I think LaMelo, Wiseman, and Edwards will be that top 3 no matter what. Denny Avdija's a pretty good pick. They have Alonzo Trier. They have some decent pieces, Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle. I think Denny could provide some desperate outside shooting that they need. So I like the pick. But here we go with Detroit. I have the Pistons taking Tyrese Halliburton at the 5th pick. They have Nico Mannion going to Detroit. Now, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Nico Mannion. He's a great player. Really dynamic shooter. Great playmaker, athletic. I don't know if he's top 8 worthy. I think he could jump into the lottery. I mean, around San Antonio, New Orleans, and Phoenix 10 through 14. I think he could go. Maybe for Phoenix. Good point guard. I don't know if he's top 6 worthy. I think a lot of these other guys, Obi Toppin, Onyeka, they are worth that top 8 pick. Not sure about Nico Mannion. Next is Charlotte, who they have at number 7 for some reason, but either way, I have Charlotte taking Onyeka Okongwu. They have Charlotte taking Jaden McDaniels. Now, Jaden McDaniels went to Washington, played with Isaiah Stewart, who was on that great Lamellar High School team. Jaden McDaniels has not had a fantastic year at Washington. He's 6'10", and was supposed to be somewhat of a shooter, but he struggled a lot. Washington, I don't even know if they got a 500 record this year. So I do not understand this pick. You got to pick, if you're going for a forward or a center, you got to go for the biggest value there. And there's a lot of value at that position right around the end of the top 10. So Jaden McDaniels over a bunch of these other players is ridiculous to me. Next, Chicago, which they flip-flopped, taking Theo Maledon. You have a better French point guard to me in Killian Hayes. I guess Theo Maledon could be a great shooter. I remember him being a good shooter and playmaker, that sort of generic point guard. But the Bulls can get players like Obi Toppin or Isaac Okoro or Killian Hayes even. I do not understand that pick. And also, they still have Kobe White. They still have Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, a lot of guards to deal with. The Washington Wizards take Vernon Carey. Now, Vernon Carey is another great player. I don't know if he's worth top 10 status, though. I think he'll be in the late to mid-teens, maybe early 20s. But I cannot take him over on Onyeka Okongwu or Obi Toppin. He's just too much of a talent. I really do not understand the Vernon Carey pick. He's not that versatile. He's an inside scorer. He can't really shoot the three. Not a great playmaker, a little flat-footed on defense. He could be a good backup center for somebody, but not a 9th pick. And then they have Sacramento and Phoenix switch. Sacramento taking RJ Hampton, but then Phoenix taking Precious Achiuwa. And I'm not going to even harp on Precious Achiuwa. He's a good player, or RJ Hampton. But I want to look at the rest of this first round. So first of all, they have Obi Toppin sliding all the way down to New Orleans at number 12. Now, if you put Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, Obi Toppin, Zion Williamson, and Jackson Hayes, that is one of the most athletic teams in the NBA, point blank. Obi Toppin and Zion Williamson are two of the most athletic players I've seen in the past 5 years. If you're able to pair them, especially at a 12th pick, that would be absolutely unbelievable for New Orleans. And also, 13, San Antonio, Tyrese Halliburton slides all the way down to San Antonio. Greg Popovich gets a lanky, athletic, great overall player. Great guard, Tyrese Halliburton. He could lead that team for years to come, no question about it. And then Onyeka Okongwu sliding to number 15. Number 15, I don't understand this. He's a great athlete, very good on defense, great shot blocker. Orlando, I don't know if that's a great fit. They have Aaron Gordon, Bamba, Chuma Okeke they just drafted, Nikola Vucevic, an assortment of bigs. I think you go for someone like Tyrese Maxey or Jordan Nwora if you're the Magic at that point. But this one I completely disagree with, so I'm going to give this a D for its draft grade. Now, all these drafts have pretty much that same top 3 players. It's either a combination of Denny or LaMelo with James Wiseman, Anthony Edwards, and LaMelo Ball. So the top 4 or 5 seems pretty consistent. It's just a matter of semantics of which person gets picked where. But that will be the top 4. But it was very interesting to see all these different drafts, how different people rank and assemble their drafts based on talent versus need versus position. So it was very interesting. But of course, I think my draft is the best. But either way, guys, thank you all for watching. Be sure to go check out my NBA mock draft video I just posted. Thank you for the love on that. And I'll see you in the next video.